Okay, we are back.
Hello.
Excited. So, we have some fun stuff to share and talk about. Hopefully, you guys are enjoying the Holistic Habits series. That's been really neat. I think we underestimate the power of habits, huh?
Yeah, and even just the habit of making sure I'm going live. like this has been an experience for me even to add something new and be doing that and making sure I'm, speaking and talking and sharing these things. That's a habit that I really do want to have. I have a lot of people who reach out to me and say that my energy and the way that I talk and the way that I say things is very inspiring and they like it, and I want all that. And then it makes me a little bit nervous sometimes or whatever. But like just really building up that habit of doing that has been really powerful within these last, 2 weeks, and really just standing up for myself, to say that I deserve to speak on these things and that I am someone that you should listen to. So that itself, like going through that process has been pretty fun too.
Yeah, it's really neat. It is such a learning experience, I think. And like you said, getting into the habit of sharing more with other people. I think oftentimes our natural tendency is to sort of like it feels safer to sort of close off and not let anyone see necessarily what's going on per se. But I think there is a time and a place where when our experiences are very powerful and what we've kind of learned along the way can help someone else, that it can be very beneficial to share. Now, not everyone necessarily can share every day, but it's been fun to do that on the holistic habits. I've found it to be pretty fun. It's been a little tricky with my kids' schedule. I'm like, I don't know if I should go live here in my car while all the kids are screaming at each other. So I might have to do this later, but
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
but you figure it out. So
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's been really fun, and I've enjoyed it, and I really like, the more that we do share, what we're going through, the more other people can connect and resonate with us, and then find that support. So many changes in my life have occurred because I watched other people and I heard what they had to say about it, and I learned and grew, from them. And now it's just like, okay, now it's my turn to step up and do that same thing. I have such a drive and a passion to help other people, and to actually take the steps forward to making that happen has been really, really awesome. And so many amazing things have happened and been uncovered, like my inability to trust people and even trust myself, kind of uncovering that and healing that, and connecting the mind, body, and the soul, all three things that we are. So with this, habit series that we've been doing, one of the biggest core root things of all of these habits is like self-love. And it's like self-love for me, I understood self-love. I knew that you need self-love. I knew that beating myself up mentally and emotionally was not productive. But then it can be so hard to love yourself when you've been on programming and conditioning that tell yourself you're bad, you're awful, you're not good. And these are all things that I heard, as a child, and they became the inner voice in my head now as an adult, and I'm running off of those things. So, and then you also have this idea that self-love is selfish and that you shouldn't be selfish, and that, you should care more about other people. But when you really get to like what self-love actually is, it's about taking care of yourself and honoring yourself in a way that you can be better to help, other people. If you're constantly, serving other people and pleasing other people and trying to avoid being selfish, you end up being super exhausted or tired or stressed out, or all these things, and then you end up resenting the people that you wanted to even help. But when you take care of yourself first, fully and completely, you are in a much better place. You have a much better energy. You have a much everything becomes better when you're helping other people. And really coming to that point of feeling like it's super selfish, but knowing that you need to do it, you got to do it no matter what. And those feelings of it being selfish will diminish, over time, when you're consistent on your path that I need to take care of myself and love myself. So for me, the habits that I first began building, which again, I was unaware that I was building habits. I just never wanted to have that tooth pain ever again. So I was like, I'm going to start flossing my teeth. I didn't think I'm going to floss my teeth and I'm going to make this a habit. I'm going to do it every night. I was just like, I cannot have this pain again. I'm going to floss my teeth. And it was 3 months into it that I realized, oh my God, I developed this habit and I don't go to bed unless I floss my teeth. And I was like, what else can I do? And then I started doing, habits that took care of me and my body. So I was raised, in I had different homes, throughout. I had my home, my mom's home, my dad's home, boarding school. But the overall belief system that I walked away with was that taking care of my body was like vain and not something that you should do, and you don't need to do those things. And I really was not in a habit of taking care of myself. I would like do my hair. Sometimes I would put on makeup. I don't think it's necessary. I mean, I'm not even wearing anything today. I don't think it's necessary, to wear makeup or anything, but to put yourself in a place of where you feel like you look good, or like looking good the way you want to look, right? I look this way. Other people look different ways. It's fine. Whatever is right for you. But honoring that, I can take care of my body. I can put lotion on my body. I can take care of my skin. I can use, different lotions and creams to take care of myself. That it's not selfish. It's not wasted. It's not in vain. I had this whole belief and perception that lotion or perfume was special, and that you can't ever really use it unless you have a special event. And then I had all these lotions and things that I never even used, and I would end up throwing them away by the time because they got, like I just never used them because it felt like they needed to be something special. Because like every day is special. Every day that I'm alive, that I have breath to breathe, that I am here to experience the world and the sun and family and friends and food. Every day is special. Every day that we are alive on this earth and this planet is special. So I really started harnessing, taking care of my body and my skin. And you can see like my face, I have no makeup on and my face is very clear. My skin is, super soft. And by spending the time putting lotion on my body and taking care of my face and paying attention to my skin has allowed me to love myself in a way that I never did before. Like even just, rubbing your own skin, like I deserve pampering. I deserve love, and it feels good to have my skin rubbed. Like just those little simple things can completely, put you in a different perspective. Now, not everybody who needs self-love needs to put lotion on. That was just my thing, right? Like Miriam, you have all that going on. You already put on your lotion, but you lack self-love in other ways, right?
Yeah. So, it can present in different ways, but I think many of us kind of grew up with that same sentiment of, that doing things that are more surface, quote unquote surface, beauty and skin and nails, and that those things can be vain, selfish, and
Waste of money.
superficial, a waste, and the thing is, those things can help us with filling up our tank or filling up our cup or however you want to, phrase it. And, you don't want, you always plug your phone in, you don't let your phone die. Though that's a part of recharging for ourselves. And
Yeah,
so,
are you plugging yourself in? That's
right,
such a
right,
good,
you know,
that's such a good comment.
whether for everyone it might be a little bit different. Now obviously there's like a balance. It's not like you should I don't necessarily think everyone needs to go every single week to spend $400 on hair and nails or what, but each person, it's going to look a little different on what really they feel like is needed for them. Sometimes it's just the time doing those things that you need, just quiet and like it's peace and quiet almost,
But just
or
that you deserve the time, and you deserve money being spent on those things.
right.
I think that's a big shift too.
Mhm. Let me Zoom. Hopefully Zoom cooperates here. So yeah, absolutely. And I think we oftentimes grow up with that mentality that we don't we don't necessarily deserve those things because there's something wrong with doing those things for ourselves. Whereas, how odd is it that it's not usually viewed as wrong if we're gifting it to someone else? So why, why would it be considered wrong that, doing those things for ourselves, but not, giving them to other people? And so, we need to understand that we have that same value. And for myself, it wasn't necessarily the physical habits. Hopefully she'll be back here in a minute, but it wasn't necessarily the physical habits that were as much of a struggle. I kind of went through I was going through the motions. I would take care of myself, and do the things. For the most part, unless I got like really busy. But for me, the self-care habits that I had to work on was the mental and the emotional. That was where I really struggled. I would be internally almost, beating myself up with if I felt like I fell short in some way, or missed the mark on something, or failed at something. I didn't know how to take care of myself mentally and emotionally, I would say. Other than, doing the things that are supposed to help, like reading books, journaling, devotions, prayer, those kinds of things, which did help. But eventually, as I got older, I had to understand that it was my everyday patterns, my mental patterns, that were mental and emotional patterns that were actually impacting my ability to function. And I had to work on those habits or patterns in order to move forward in a healthier way, where I was taking care of myself, and I deserved to be loved in those ways. And I deserve to be loved and cared for in those ways. So, okay, I don't know if she's going to be coming back in, so I'm gonna pause and then we'll come back.
So there were a little bit of technical glitches going on. So I'm just going to finish up our little session for today. We talked about how we need to value ourselves more and really embrace and live life to the fullest every single day for lots of reasons. Some of it is also just that we never know, how much time we have, and that every day that we are alive is worth living. It's worth taking care of ourselves. And Melissa shared a little bit of her experiences and ways that she realized she needed to care for herself, and I shared a little bit as well of how I realized my mental and emotional patterns. I needed to take care of myself better as well. And I think there's different dynamics that go into it, from our experiences when we're young. And then, as we get older, certain societal, beliefs and things that we sort of take on. Sometimes we maybe expect other people to take care of us, and we don't necessarily take that on as like something we should do. Sometimes it's the like different types of limiting beliefs or circumstances, or those beliefs we kind of talked about of that it's selfish and or greedy or something like that to even spend money on ourselves or do those kinds of things. So uh, you definitely want to kind of take a moment, take a few notes, take note of those areas that you do struggle to take care of yourself, and think about maybe why that's going on, and analyze that. And then we also got in a little bit into a conversation about how we just have to understand our inherent value, just the fact that we are alive. We have value as a human person, as a human soul, and that is so important to remember. And I shared a little bit about how I had sort of an aha light bulb moment when I was reading a book called Every Thought Captive, and it was describing that there's actually different types of love, and that many times we sort of get stuck on the friendship, or the different types of connection, or maybe even affection is another type. But there is one that's called agape, which is unconditional. It doesn't change, it doesn't fluctuate based on what someone is doing or not doing, or making mistakes or not making mistakes, or failing or not failing, or whatever, however you would describe it. It's simply based on the value of that each of us have an incredible value because God designed us and created us that way. And that's how I believe. Everyone it might be a little different on that, but that was such a beautiful analogy that reminded me that if God values me that much, and this is true for everyone, right? If He loves all of us that much unconditionally, it doesn't waver, it doesn't change, then maybe I can learn to forgive myself. Who am I to say I'm not worth taking care of in some way, whether that's mentally, emotionally, or physically? Who am I to say that I'm not valuable enough to invest in some way, right? If He created that value in us. So that's kind of how I view it. And that was one of my aha moments. And then Melissa kind of shared a little bit about that as well, and how different people in her life have helped her see her value and that she's worth it. And so she shared a little bit about that with her relationships in her life, and that sometimes we also, another kind of piece of it is that when we start to realize these areas that we want to work on to care for ourselves better, invest in ourselves, value ourselves better mentally, physically, and emotionally, it does help to have someone to sort of walk alongside that, us in that. So sometimes that looks like a friend, maybe it's a counselor or a therapist, whoever that is, a mentor. Melissa was saying it was, her husband that she was in relationship with that did that for her. And I think we all have different people that come into our life at different times and different seasons. And then we were talking about how we are creating something new for you guys that will provide that peace, because I think a lot of times in the beginning of our journeys, as we start to want to make some of these changes to live healthier mentally, physically, and emotionally, to increase our ability to be energized and motivated every single day, to fill up our cup in a sense and be recharged and refreshed every day. We have to learn and shift and change some of these mental, physical, and emotional habits, and it really helps to have someone to kind of walk alongside and guide us in the beginning. And then Melissa was sharing how, like, eventually we get to a point where we start be able to just do it for ourselves, no matter if anybody else is there, supporting, reminding, encouraging, and everything. So we are really, really excited. Stay tuned. We are going to be sharing some new things with you that will help come alongside you wherever you're at. In the meantime, we would love to hear from you guys. What area of your mental, physical, emotional well-being are you working on? What patterns have you noticed? And what really resonated with you as we were sharing throughout the Holistic Habits series and these past few weeks as we've been having these fun chats. We would love to connect with you. Say hello. Just let us know where you're popping in from, where you're tuning in from, and we cannot wait to talk again soon. Take care.